You've never heard the story I'm bringing you today before. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Kyle allows himself to be used, Summer's limits tested. The Young and the Restless spoilers document that Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, is deeply involved in his mother's plot to rid herself of Jeremy Stark, James Hyde. The plan she and Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, hatched appears to have worked. However, Chance Chancellor, Connor Floyd, suspects Diane Jenkins, Susan Walters, and Jack set up Jeremy. That realization is causing Genoa City, Wisconsin's current lead detective to consider hanging up his badge because he does not like being manipulated. Summer Newman Abbott, Allison Lanier, has become increasingly frustrated with her husband's acceptance of Diane's behavior. She and Jack are pursuing dangerous paths while believing Kyle, Summer, and Harrison Locke, Kellen Enriquez, are being protected. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Diane Jenkins creates rifts. Summer and her mother, Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, were getting along. They agreed Diane was untrustworthy. But Diane used her proximity to Summer and regular waterworks displays to slightly shift her daughter-in-law's opinion. Phyllis made the mistake of going too hard after Diane, which appeared to make Walter's character the victim. Meanwhile, Jack was having his head turned by Kyle's mother. Kyle's backing of Diane is tied to his childhood memories of her. She is his mother, and he accepted her explanation of mental health issues driving her faked death scenario. But Summer recently broke from that line of thinking. Y&R spoilers. Newman family ties constrict. Summer loves her grandfather. But she knows from experience and the many rants her father, Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, offered that Victor Newman, Eric Braden, is prone to manipulation. Victor's latest scheme involves the common interest he shares with Kyle. Both men want Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, removed from Jabot. Summer's awareness of the plan Victor wants Kyle to execute creates pressure. She is not going to allow Kyle to let himself be used again. Victor's scheme is not as dangerous but is more egregious because it cuts his granddaughter, Summer, out of the equation. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Summer Newman Abbott reasserts control. The mustache does not care how using Kyle could negatively impact Summer. In Victor's mind, she will benefit because Kyle's stress level decreases when Adam is gone. It could be easier for Summer to exact a change in Kyle's thinking where Adam is concerned, compared to Diane. Her schemes are linked to Kyle's dad, giving him the final say. But Victor is a Newman. So, Summer deserves say in whatever Kyle may decide on Y&R. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Kyle allows himself to be used. Summer's limits tested. Genoa City is about to erupt in emotional chaos as The Young and the Restless takes its love triangles, betrayals, and insecurities to new heights. Kyle Abbott is spiraling down a path that blurs the line between revenge and redemption, and Summer Newman is finding herself at her breaking point. What started as a messy breakup has evolved into something much darker, a dangerous emotional chess match where both sides are playing to win, but at what cost? Kyle's choices in the coming days could change everything for the Abbotts and the Newmans, setting the stage for heartbreak, manipulation, and a shocking power shift. The latest spoilers suggest Kyle is about to let himself be used in ways that even he doesn't fully understand, while Summer's patience and loyalty will face a brutal test. This isn't just about love anymore, it's about pride, control, and survival. For months, Kyle Abbott has been lost in the wreckage of his failed marriage. The connection he once had with Summer, the fairy tale romance that had Genoa City rooting for them, has turned into resentment and regret. Ever since Claire Grace entered his life, the once confident Abbott heir has been chasing shadows of affection. He wants to prove he's over Summer, but deep down, his actions reveal the opposite. Audra Charles, ever the opportunist, knows exactly how to use that vulnerability. She's the master manipulator, and she sees Kyle's emotional confusion as the perfect opportunity to strike. The Young and the Restless spoilers tease that Audra is pulling Kyle's strings again, feeding his ego while planting seeds of chaos between him and Summer. She knows that Kyle still loves Summer but also knows how to use that love to her advantage. Audra's manipulations have always been self-serving, and this time is no different. Her goal is simple: destabilize the Abbotts, gain power at Newman Media, and destroy anyone who stands in her way. Kyle, blinded by his need for validation, might not realize he's becoming her pawn until it's too late. Meanwhile, Summer is struggling to keep her composure. She's been through heartbreak before, but this situation cuts deeper. She's watched Kyle drift from her life, not just emotionally but morally. Summer has always been fiery, but she's also been forgiving. She understands the complexities of love and family, especially in Genoa City where alliances shift like sand. But even her patience has its limits. Seeing Kyle entangled in Audra's games pushes her to question everything. Is the man she once loved still somewhere inside him, or has Kyle become someone else entirely? Adding another layer to this emotional storm is the tension between the Abbotts and Newmans. Jack Abbott's protective instincts toward his son are clashing with Diane Jenkins' growing anxiety. Diane fears Kyle's reckless choices will undo everything they've worked so hard to rebuild. Jack, ever the peacemaker, wants to believe Kyle is just lost, not broken. But behind closed doors, even he is beginning to question whether his son's ambition has turned into something darker. Summer, too, finds herself confiding in her mother Phyllis Summers, an ironic twist considering their rocky past. Phyllis, never one to mince words, warns her daughter not to make the same mistakes she did, falling for a man who can't choose loyalty over pride. Phyllis has seen this game before, and she knows it never ends well. Her advice is simple but brutal: protect your heart and walk away before Kyle drags you down with him. But can Summer truly let go? Every time she thinks she's ready to move on, something pulls her back. Whether it's Kyle's attempts to reconnect or the undeniable chemistry that still sparks when they're in the same room, Summer can't escape the gravity of what they once shared. The upcoming episodes will push her to her limit. When Kyle allows himself to be used, again, it's not just a betrayal of trust, but of self-respect. He's so determined to prove something that he doesn't realize he's losing himself in the process. Genoa City insiders hint that this time, Summer won't stand idly by. She's reaching her emotional breaking point, and that could mean a side of Summer the audience hasn't seen before, one that's colder, more calculating, and far less forgiving. The next chapter of this saga could very well redefine the Summer and Kyle dynamic. If Kyle continues down this road, he may find himself alienated from not only Summer but also his own family. Jack and Diane have worked tirelessly to restore their son's reputation, but his impulsive choices are threatening to unravel everything. When he inevitably realizes that Audra has been manipulating him, it might be too late to repair the damage. Audra, for her part, thrives on chaos. She's already been playing both sides, feeding information to Newman Media while pretending to care for Kyle. But Audra's brand of power always comes at a cost, and there's a sense that her overconfidence will backfire. Spoilers suggest she might soon find herself cornered, especially if Summer decides to fight back. Summer's not the naive girl she once was. She's her mother's daughter, and when pushed, she knows how to play the game. Imagine Summer using her Newman name and business influence to expose Audra's true motives. It's the kind of move that could set off a corporate and personal war. Viewers can expect emotional confrontations that will shake the Abbott and Newman families. A heated showdown between Summer and Audra seems inevitable, one where old wounds and new betrayals collide. Meanwhile, Kyle's guilt will begin to consume him. There's a part of him that knows he's making a mistake, but like so many in Genoa City, he's addicted to the drama, unable to walk away from the toxicity. Kyle's decision to let himself be used may seem like weakness, but deep down, it's a reflection of pain he hasn't dealt with since losing Summer. He's masking his heartbreak with rebellion, allowing himself to fall into relationships that are purely transactional. But when the smoke clears, he'll have to face the truth: he's still in love with Summer. The question is whether Summer will still want him when that realization comes. There's also a sense that this storyline could tie into a larger Abbott family arc. With tensions rising at Jabot and the Newman media rivalry heating up, Kyle's actions could have far-reaching consequences. If Audra uses him to access sensitive company information or manipulate a deal, Jack's fury could reach new heights. The Abbotts have survived plenty of internal drama, but betrayal from within could push the family to its breaking point. On the emotional front, fans are bracing for explosive scenes between Kyle and Summer, raw, painful, and possibly cathartic. These two share a deep connection, and while their love story has taken many detours, it's hard to imagine the show letting them go completely. Whether it's reconciliation or final heartbreak, something monumental is coming. The latest whispers from the set suggest a potential twist. Summer may find unexpected support from an unlikely source, Chance Chancellor. The two have shared brief but telling interactions, and with Chance's level-headed nature, he could become someone Summer leans on. If that connection deepens, Kyle's jealousy could explode, pushing him further down the path of self-destruction. And that's where the drama peaks. Kyle's inability to handle rejection, mixed with his guilt and obsession, could lead to shocking consequences. Some fans even speculate that Kyle might take drastic steps to win Summer back, steps that cross ethical lines. The question now is not just whether Kyle will wake up to Audra's manipulation, but whether Summer will even recognize the man he's become. Genoa City is a town built on secrets, and every secret eventually explodes. As the walls close in on Kyle, Summer will be forced to choose between saving the man she once loved or protecting herself from the wreckage he's creating. Her limits will be tested, her emotions pushed to the edge, and by the time this storyline reaches its climax, nothing between them will ever be the same again. In the end, this is more than a story of love and betrayal, it's a mirror of human vulnerability. Kyle's journey is a cautionary tale about what happens when pride blinds the heart, while Summer's arc is about resilience and rediscovering strength after heartbreak. As the dust settles in Genoa City, one thing is clear, both Kyle and Summer are heading toward a crossroads. One choice could lead to redemption. The other, to ruin. Either way, The Young and the Restless is about to deliver another unforgettable chapter in the tangled saga of the Abbotts and Newmans, and viewers won't be able to look away as Summer's limits, and Kyle's weakness, explode into one of the most emotional storylines of the year. The Young and the Restless spoilers: Kyle fired, Summer's marriage disintegrates. Genoa City is bracing for another bombshell as tensions rise within the Abbott and Newman families. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Kyle Abbott could be on the verge of losing everything: his job, his reputation, and even the last shred of trust left between him and Summer Newman. What started as marital tension is quickly snowballing into a full-blown crisis that threatens to destroy both their personal and professional lives. The man who once had everything, power, love, and family loyalty, is now teetering on the edge of self-destruction, and the fallout will be felt across Genoa City. Kyle Abbott has always been ambitious, but lately that ambition has turned reckless. After a series of questionable decisions at Jabot and in his personal life, whispers are spreading that his time at the family company could be running out. Jack Abbott has been trying to keep the peace, but the company's future and family loyalty are colliding in ways that even Jack can't ignore. Kyle's clashes with his father have become more frequent, and his ego is leading him down a path that could cost him everything. The latest spoilers tease that a major showdown between Jack and Kyle is coming, one that could end with Kyle being fired, not just from Jabot, but from the life he's built. The cracks have been forming for months. Since his split from Summer, Kyle has been struggling to find balance. His impulsive involvement with Audra Charles didn't help matters, it only made things worse. Audra, known for her manipulative streak, saw Kyle's vulnerability and used it to her advantage. She fed his ambition, made him feel powerful again, and pushed him to make moves that were less about leadership and more about revenge. Kyle believed he could outsmart both Audra and his father, but in the cutthroat world of corporate Genoa City, no secret stays buried for long. As Jabot faces a potential business crisis, suspicions are mounting that Kyle's poor judgment, and his entanglement with Audra, could have jeopardized company secrets. The board isn't happy, and neither is Jack. Spoilers suggest that Jack may finally be forced to do the unthinkable, fire his own son to protect Jabot's future. The emotional impact of such a decision would be massive. Jack has always been torn between being a father and being a leader, and this time the line between those roles has completely blurred. Diane Jenkins, Kyle's fiercely protective mother, won't take the news quietly either. She's fought tooth and nail to rebuild her relationship with both Jack and her son, and she'll see this as yet another betrayal. But Diane's involvement could backfire. Her attempts to shield Kyle might only deepen Jack's resolve to make an example out of him. Meanwhile, Summer is caught in her own emotional storm. Her marriage to Kyle has already been under enormous strain, and this latest scandal could be the breaking point. Despite their separation, there's still a deep connection between them, love mixed with resentment, longing mixed with pain. Summer has tried to keep her focus on work and family, but Kyle's self-destructive choices keep pulling her back into his orbit. When word spreads that Kyle may be fired, Summer's reaction will speak volumes. Some sources suggest that Summer might even step in to defend him, arguing that family loyalty should come before business. But others hint that she may finally wash her hands of him entirely, tired of cleaning up his messes. Her breaking point could be closer than anyone realizes. There's also talk that Kyle's job loss could have ripple effects beyond Jabot. Newman Media, where Audra continues to play her own power games, may become entangled in the fallout. If it turns out that Audra manipulated Kyle into leaking or mismanaging information, she could face serious consequences, but she's not the type to go down quietly. Expect her to deflect blame and turn the situation to her advantage, possibly even spinning the narrative that Kyle acted alone. That could leave Kyle isolated, disgraced, and desperate. In the emotional chaos that follows, Summer might have to confront the question she's been avoiding for months: is Kyle worth saving? Their once perfect love story has become a tragic cycle of trust and betrayal. From their whirlwind romance to their marriage and eventual collapse, fans have watched them rise and fall, but this may be the end of the road. Summer has been holding on to the hope that Kyle would eventually find his way back, that the man she fell in love with was still somewhere inside him. But with his career imploding and his pride leading him astray, she may finally realize that love alone isn't enough. Adding more fuel to the fire is Phyllis Summers, Summer's fiercely opinionated mother. Never one to hold her tongue, Phyllis has always been skeptical of Kyle's ability to make her daughter happy. Now, with Kyle's career in jeopardy and his behavior spiraling out of control, Phyllis won't hesitate to say, "I told you so." Expect fiery confrontations between Phyllis and Diane, two mothers who have never seen eye to eye. Their feud will reignite in spectacular fashion as both women go to war over their children's futures. Diane will defend Kyle to the bitter end, while Phyllis will do whatever it takes to protect Summer from being dragged down by Kyle's mistakes. As these family rivalries explode, Genoa City will be divided once again. Jack will be heartbroken over the decision to fire his son, but he'll also know that sometimes tough love is the only option. Kyle, feeling betrayed by his father and humiliated in the business world, may lash out in ways that make things even worse. There's speculation that Kyle could leave town temporarily, both to escape the scandal and to regroup. But his absence will create a vacuum, emotionally and professionally, that others will be quick to fill. Some insiders suggest that Summer could step into a new leadership role at Jabot or even at Newman Media, proving that she doesn't need Kyle to succeed. That professional rise could mark the beginning of a new era for her, but also the end of their marriage once and for all. Viewers should brace themselves for emotional scenes between Kyle and Summer as the reality of their crumbling relationship sets in. Their conversations, once filled with love and hope, will now be laced with resentment and regret. Kyle might beg for forgiveness, but Summer's exhaustion and disillusionment will make her hesitate. She's been through too much to fall for empty promises again. This emotional unraveling won't just affect them, it will ripple through their families and workplaces. The Abbotts will be forced to confront old wounds, with Jack questioning whether his family legacy is cursed by ambition. The Newmans, meanwhile, will seize the opportunity to gain leverage, especially Victor and Nikki, who will see Kyle's fall as a sign of weakness within the Abbott ranks. Business and family loyalty have always been intertwined in Genoa City, and this storyline proves that when one falls, everything else crumbles. There's also a haunting question looming over this arc: what happens to Kyle when he has nothing left? Stripped of his power, alienated from his family, and estranged from the woman he still loves, Kyle could reach a dangerous breaking point. His pride has always been both his greatest strength and his greatest flaw. Losing his position at Jabot may finally force him to confront who he really is without the Abbott name and fortune to fall back on. For Summer, this crisis could mark a powerful turning point. She's been defined for so long by her relationship with Kyle that she's forgotten her own strength. The pain of watching him self-destruct could ignite a new fire in her, one that drives her to rebuild her life on her own terms. Whether that means focusing on her career, finding new love, or finally confronting her parents' complicated legacy, Summer's next chapter could be one of self-discovery and empowerment. The Young and the Restless thrives on these moments, when love and ambition collide, when family loyalty is tested, and when characters are forced to choose between the past and the future. The fallout from Kyle's potential firing will touch every corner of Genoa City, from Jabot's boardroom to the Newman estate. It's not just a story about one man losing his job, it's about how that loss exposes everyone's true colors. As the dust settles, alliances will shift, secrets will surface, and hearts will break. Kyle's downfall could be the catalyst for one of the most dramatic power reshuffles in years. Summer's marriage may not survive the wreckage, but out of the ashes could rise a stronger, more independent woman. And as for Kyle, his road to redemption, if he even takes it, will be long and lonely. In the end, this storyline captures everything that makes The Young and the Restless timeless: passion, betrayal, ambition, and the painful truth that sometimes love just isn't enough. Genoa City will never be the same once this storm passes, and the question remains: when Kyle Abbott hits rock bottom, will anyone be there to help him up, or has he finally burned every bridge he ever built? The Young and the Restless spoilers: Summer Newman Abbott reasserts control. Genoa City is about to see a whole new side of Summer Newman Abbott, one that's bold, calculating, and ready to reclaim her power. For months, Summer has been pulled in every direction, torn between her loyalty to family, her crumbling marriage to Kyle Abbott, and the chaos surrounding Newman Media. But now, the tides are turning. The Young and the Restless spoilers tease that Summer is done being the victim of circumstance. The fiery Newman spirit within her is rising to the surface, and she's ready to reassert control, not just over her personal life, but over the people who underestimated her. What happens when the once heartbroken woman becomes the one calling the shots? The fallout is going to shake Genoa City to its core. Summer's transformation has been building for weeks. After enduring heartbreak, betrayal, and manipulation, she's finally realizing that she doesn't have to play by anyone else's rules. Her breakup with Kyle has been painful, but it's also been liberating. For too long, she defined herself by their marriage, their love, their family, their public image. But the cracks in that picture-perfect union revealed something crucial: Summer doesn't need Kyle Abbott to define her power. She's a Newman through and through, and when a Newman decides to fight, there's no stopping them. After Kyle's recent downward spiral, including his questionable choices at Jabot and his alliance with Audra Charles, Summer has reached her breaking point. She's done waiting for him to come to his senses. The new Summer isn't here to patch things up or beg for love, she's here to rebuild her life on her own terms. And in true Newman fashion, she's starting with a plan. Spoilers suggest that Summer is ready to take charge at work, stepping into a position that will make waves in Genoa City's power structure. With both Newman Media and Jabot facing internal turmoil, Summer sees an opening, and she's not afraid to take it. Whether it's aligning herself with her mother, Phyllis Summers, or joining forces with her powerful grandfather Victor Newman, Summer's strategic mind is waking up. She's beginning to play the corporate game with the same cunning precision that made her family famous. But Summer's reinvention isn't just about business, it's also deeply personal. Her emotional awakening comes after months of being underestimated, both by Kyle and by those who thought she would crumble after their split. Instead of falling apart, Summer has been quietly observing, learning, and preparing. Now she's ready to make her move. The woman who once acted out of emotion is now thinking 2 steps ahead, blending her mother's fiery instincts with her father Nick's practicality. She's no longer the heartbroken ex-wife, she's the strategist. And everyone in Genoa City is about to find out what that means. Kyle, of course, will be the first to feel the impact of Summer's transformation. He's been spiraling since losing her, making impulsive decisions, getting tangled up with Audra, and pushing his father Jack's patience to the limit. But the moment he sees Summer reclaiming her confidence, it's going to hit him hard. For the first time, Kyle will have to confront what he lost, not just the woman, but the partnership that once balanced him. The same power dynamic that once made them unstoppable as a couple is now flipped. Summer is in control, and Kyle is struggling to catch up. The tension between them will be electric, a mix of regret, longing, and rivalry. Spoilers hint that as Summer begins asserting herself, Kyle will attempt to reinsert himself into her life, either professionally or personally. But Summer's not the same woman who used to drop everything for him. She's colder now, more composed, and unwilling to be manipulated. Their scenes are expected to sizzle with unresolved chemistry, but this time, it'll be Summer who holds the upper hand. While Kyle grapples with his guilt and confusion, Audra Charles may also find herself in Summer's crosshairs. Audra has spent months playing puppet master, pulling Kyle's strings for her own gain. But Summer's about to turn the tables. She's seen Audra's manipulative tactics before, and she's ready to expose them. There's a strong chance that Summer will use her newfound influence to undermine Audra at Newman Media, possibly even orchestrating her downfall. Imagine the satisfaction of watching Summer dismantle Audra's career with the same precision Audra used to sabotage hers. But this isn't just revenge, it's strategy. Summer knows that controlling the narrative means controlling the power. Behind the scenes, Victor Newman could be quietly guiding his granddaughter's ascent. He's always admired her intelligence and grit, and if he sees potential in her, he'll nurture it. Victor thrives on loyalty and legacy, and Summer represents both. He's likely to give her the tools she needs to make her mark, even if it means putting her in positions that make Kyle and Nick uncomfortable. That kind of power move would not only elevate Summer but also shift the balance of power in Genoa City's business landscape. Meanwhile, Phyllis Summers couldn't be prouder. For once, she and her daughter are on the same page. Phyllis has spent years trying to teach Summer how to survive in a world full of sharks, and now she's seeing those lessons pay off. Expect some mother-daughter bonding scenes filled with scheming, laughter, and maybe a few warnings about not losing herself in the process. Phyllis knows how easy it is to let ambition consume everything, and she won't want Summer to repeat her mistakes. However, not everyone will welcome Summer's resurgence. Diane Jenkins, ever protective of her son, will see Summer's new attitude as a threat. The tension between these two women will intensify as Summer reclaims her power, particularly if it means pushing Kyle further away from Diane's influence. Diane's instinct will be to fight back, and that could reignite one of Genoa City's most volatile rivalries, Phyllis versus Diane, Round 2, with their children caught in the crossfire. The Abbotts and Newmans will once again find themselves on opposing sides, and this time, it's personal. As Summer reasserts control, viewers can expect to see her make bold moves both in business and in her relationships. She might surprise everyone by forming new alliances, perhaps even with people no one would expect. Chance Chancellor, for instance, has been a steady presence in Genoa City's drama, and his growing friendship with Summer could evolve into something more. If that happens, Kyle's jealousy could erupt, adding another layer of complexity to the story. A confident, independent Summer moving on with another man could be exactly what pushes Kyle to the edge, forcing him to confront his own flaws and maybe even fight for her again. But whether she takes him back is another question entirely. The coming weeks are setting the stage for Summer's full transformation into a power player. Expect to see her walk into meetings with the same poise as Victoria Newman, command respect in boardrooms, and make choices that show she's no longer anyone's pawn. The Newmans have always been known for their dominance, and now it's Summer's turn to carry that torch, blending her family's ruthless business instincts with her own emotional intelligence. The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest that her rise to power won't come without sacrifice. To maintain her control, Summer will have to make hard decisions, and some of them may alienate the people she loves most. But she's ready for it. The days of crying over Kyle are over. Now, she's writing her own story, one where she's the main character, not the supporting role. Her ambition, her resilience, and her willingness to learn from her mistakes are what make this comeback so powerful. By the time this storyline hits its peak, Genoa City won't be looking at the same Summer Newman Abbott. She'll be sharper, more strategic, and perhaps even a little dangerous. Her transformation will send shockwaves through both families, reshaping alliances and rivalries for months to come. And as fans know, power always comes at a price. The question is, how far will Summer go to keep it? In the end, this storyline isn't just about revenge or ambition. It's about evolution. It's about a woman who has been underestimated finally stepping into her own strength and refusing to let anyone define her future. Summer Newman Abbott is taking back her life, her name, and her power, and everyone in Genoa City better be ready, because this is her era. She's done waiting for someone to save her. She's the one in control now. And when a Newman reclaims control, there's no turning back.